Hey fellas, Dan Brokos from Lead Faucet Tactical. Today we're out here doing another episode of Recoil Training Tune-Ups. Today we're going to talk about fighting in and around cover with our pistol. Three most important things. One, have an offensive mindset. That means square up to your piece of cover. Two, use your piece of cover to support your shots. Today we have steel at 20 and 30 meters, and I'm going to need to use this cover to support my shots. Nothing wrong with shooting unsupported around a barricade, but under stress, use it if you got it. And three, keep your slide away from any piece of cover you have because you know it's going to induce a malfunction. We're going to cover those three topics and break them down step by step for you. Our first thing, square up to our piece of cover, have an offensive mindset. A lot of times I see people fighting around cover, their feet are nice and tight and they try to lean out and minimize exposure. The bottom line is our head's always going to be exposed, fellas. So square up to my piece of cover, spread your legs, get in a good solid platform and be able to drive a 10-round string from the right and then from the left with very little foot movement. Of course, if our cover is big enough, we may have to move on down, but always square up, prepared to shoot 10 rounds, not 2. Number 2, make sure we're supporting ourselves. Nothing wrong with not supporting yourself, but we got targets at 20 and 30 meters. And under stress, if I'm behind something, I'm gonna use it properly to help mitigate recoil and get faster shots on target. Right-handed shooter, right-hand side of the barricade. I can take my support thumb, hook it onto the barricade, drive into it, help manage recoil, quick follow-up shots. I can also just drive my knuckles into it and cant my weapon a little bit. I can do that for my strong and support side. Drive into it. Just remember, shooting over the top right here, I'm good to put weight on this pistol because I have a tack light. I take this tack light off and press down on a polymill frame, I may induce a malfunction on this. So if you're not running a tack light, make sure we're getting meat in between our pistol and the barricade. All right, here's my shot pace and hits with me in an improper stance, not squared up, and not using this piece of barricade to support myself. We can do it, all depending on shooter ability, but I'm gonna lean out, my head's already exposed. Not a bad shot pace, but if we come up and support ourselves, we can do much better than that. Square up, good aggressive stance, support yourself. Much better shot pace at distance, fellas. Rule 3, try to avoid your slide from touching anything. It's common sense, but moving fast, and some of my courses that have vehicles and a lot of barricades, you don't want to come up, and if you're not used to getting a proper handhold thumb or thing, resting, even with a tack light on here, resting any part of my slide on my cover. Yeah, it's nice and tight, but I'm gonna do some malfunction instantly as soon as any portion of my slide, even my awkward positions, start touching this cover. So keep your slides off, whatever we're shooting behind. Right to your left or left to your right, back and forth around cover. It goes with kneeling. Make sure our outside knee is always up, and that's for tactical reasons. Hey fellas, down and dirty, the 3 major things we talked about is have a good aggressive stance, offensive mindset, square up to that piece of cover. 2, use it to support yourself. You've seen my shot pace, the difference between supported and unsupported at distance. And lastly, make sure that slide is clear of my piece of cover, especially on the strong side, and shooting over the top of something. If you don't have a tack light, you've seen what happens if you put too much pressure on it. Kneeling, nothing changes. Support yourself either with your thumb or dig your knuckles into it. Strong and support side, make sure that outside knee is always up, and that's a tactical reason for not falling on your face if you get bumped, because we always got teammates around. Makes me feel alone.